It is day 184 of the second Trump administration. And as Donald Trump throws everything against the wall to stop people from talking about Jeffrey Epstein, his own Justice Department is reaching out to Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. My colleague Peter Alexander has all the details.
Tonight, Attorney General Pam Bondi announcing her top deputy expects to meet soon with Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted accomplice of notorious sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche posting, President Trump has told us to release all credible evidence. If Ghislaine Maxwell has information about anyone who committed crimes against victims, the FBI and the DOJ will hear what she has to say. It's the latest effort by the Trump administration to diffuse the uproar among some Trump supporters over the handling of the DOJ files on Epstein. President Trump today saying he would support it.
I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt.
Hours later, the House Oversight Committee approved a Republican-led motion to subpoena Maxwell.
She wants to tell us who all was going to Epstein Island. I think that would be interesting.
Tonight, the House Speaker, Republican Mike Johnson, says he'll send lawmakers home early for their summer break, delaying any votes demanded by Democrats and some Republicans that would call for the release of more Epstein files.
They are actually ending this week early because they're afraid to cast votes on the Jeffrey Epstein issue. We should release the Epstein files.
Johnson slamming it as political games.
The Democrats are trying to play gotcha politics right now. Has anyone forgotten? They had all these files the entire time. They sat on everything Epstein related for 4 long years while President Biden was in office.
Last week, the Justice Department asked a federal court to unseal secret grand jury records in the Epstein case. Today, the judges said they need more information to make a ruling. Tonight, Maxwell's lawyer confirmed discussions with the DOJ, thanking President Trump, quote, for his commitment to uncovering the truth in this case. But some Democrats argue Maxwell, who's appealing her 20-year sentence, may be looking for a presidential pardon.
With that, let's get smarter with the help of our lead-off panel tonight. Susan Glasser is here, staff writer for The New Yorker. Dave Weigel, political reporter for Semaphore, and Jeff Mason, White House correspondent for Reuters. Susan, Todd Blanche is one of Trump's top lieutenants. Safe to say he is a true Trump loyalist. And there are some critics out there that they're worried that he's going to meet with Maxwell. She's going to cut a deal to free herself and potentially release all sorts of information on lots of wrongdoers except Donald John Trump. Is this concern valid?
Look, why didn't they meet with her before this? If you'll recall, this whole thing was started by Donald Trump and his own campaign saying they were going to release these files, suggesting that there was a conspiracy, promoting this conspiracy theory. And now it turns out that they haven't even talked to her up until now, the obviously crucial witness in the center of the case. And I just think that this shows that the Trump administration, they're in a maelstrom of their own making here, right? They created a political firestorm. They are doing anything that they possibly can to distract from it. You showed Donald Trump in one of the clips in the opening here, Stephanie, talking about, the hoax, that this is all part of some grand conspiracy. Donald Trump today, I have to say, some of the comments that he made about President Obama and President Biden and Hillary Clinton, among his most unhinged really ever. And I say that as someone who, has been, unfortunately, somewhat of a Trumpologist over the last 10 years. This has really caused the wheels to come off a little bit for the Trump White House in ways that they clearly did not anticipate.
Well, Trump and Bondi say that they want the grand jury testimony released. But of course, today, a judge said not yet. He needs more information. Dave, is this just a show that Bondi and Trump are trying to say they're doing something, knowing that even what they're requesting could take a really long time, and it's not the whole thing anyway?
That's a good analysis of it. That Bondi has been correcting for the memo that she released over the 4th of July weekend when not a lot of people were paying attention in what looked like an attempt to bury this. And all of this goes back to what MAGA voters, not just MAGA voters, but a lot of these anti-establishment voters that took a chance on Donald Trump in 2024 expected. They expected that there was a list, as Elon Musk suggested, as Kash Patel suggested, etc., that was going to reveal some of the MAGA world's biggest enemies had committed terrible crimes and they go to jail. So the distractions today of Trump saying, actually, there's other evidence that's going to send Barack Obama to jail, Hillary Clinton to jail, that just rings a lot more hollow with the sort of voter who took this seriously. They do not trust that Trump, certainly not Bondi, who said she had a list on her desk and now is looking for something else. They do not trust they're going to get this kind of truth about them. It's really only a wing of the MAGA media movement that listens to Trump talk for the umpteenth time about Russia and say, well, this is how they're going to get Barack Obama. It's just not credible anymore.
The shocker for me, Jeff, is the division you're seeing within MAGA. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, when you think of Trump loyalists in Congress, she considers herself to be, sort of the most outspoken Trump ally, right? Original election denier. She's the one who pushed the Gulf of America bill through Congress. And she's out there saying that Trump's base is not going, they don't want dribs and drabs and, tidbits of red meat. It is time for them to get the Jeffrey Epstein steak dinner, because that's what they have been teased with for years and years. How real is it that the likes of Marjorie Taylor, she says, if you don't deliver, this group of people are going to turn their back on you and they ain't coming back.
I couldn't have said it better than you did, just with that steak dinner example. Marjorie Taylor Greene's base is President Trump's base. So she wants to produce for that base, and she is disappointed with that base in the same way that President Trump has wanted to produce for that base, but right now is deeply frustrated by the fact that they are making this into such a big deal. And he, of course, as the others have said, is trying to distract attention, and he's trying to suggest that it's someone else who's making a big deal out of the Epstein files and the lack of producing this from the Department of Justice as promised. But it's not. It's his own folks. It's his own supporters. And I think it's also worth noting the irony that this is the area, or this is the issue, this is the topic where the MAGA base draws the line. And this is what they've chosen, and it is absolutely damaging him politically, and that's why you have Speaker Johnson sending lawmakers home, and it's why you have President Trump trying to come up with other distractions, and it's why you see him deeply, deeply frustrated with the fact that this is coming back and coming back and coming back.
But Susan, what does that say, honestly? I know, state of politics is at a low bar, but what does it say about the state of politics right now that Speaker Mike Johnson is sending Congress home early on their 5-week recess just to avoid a vote on a bipartisan push?
Well, that's right. It does show you this is probably the most significant internal discord among the MAGA movement since Donald Trump returned to office. And, again, the idea that this is the biggest division is not the disruption of the global economy. It's not war in Europe. It's not war in the Middle East. The biggest disruption is about a conspiracy theory promoted and advanced by his own base. And that's what's ripping Republicans apart, so much so that they have to actually put the House of Representatives into recess early. I think, as someone who started out in their career as a reporter on Capitol Hill, if you told my 1990 self stuff that the Congress was going to shut down rather than have Republicans be forced to take a vote that they didn't want to take on releasing files about a dead sex trafficker who had been friends, which was already publicly known, with the president of the United States. This is one of those moments too, I know we're all degraded and debased by the sort of what's happened to our politics, but if everybody took a breath and said, I would like to talk to my 1990 self, and I would like to say that, the president of the United States was friends with a convicted sex trafficker who died in office. He came to office and he said he was going to release the records. Then he said, no, he didn't want to. And as a result of that, the U.S. Congress is going to grind to a halt. This is actually one of those markers of our, sort of the collective spiraling of our politics.
I think there's a lot of other things I would discuss with my 1990 self, but I actually want to play a bit of the president talking earlier today, where you can see him change the subject away from Epstein in real time. Watch this.
Do you support the Justice Department seeking a new interview with Ghislaine Maxwell? And did you urge the Attorney General to seek one.
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
They're going to, your Deputy Attorney General is reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about
She
it,
has
but
said
I
she-
think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, who's your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given
No, I have
your
no
past
concern.
relationship?
He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard.
Jeff, come on now. It's obvious what the president is doing, and he's normally very successful at it with his base. You know, I talk about this often. I remember in his first term, Jared Kushner's office used, when I would reach out to them and say, like, oh my gosh, what's your take on this outrageous thing and that? They would laugh and they would say, like, well, the news cycle will move on. We don't have to address it. The news cycle is not moving on, and it's obvious what the president's trying to do here.
Thank you for coming to me after that, because I have thoughts. So
I'm glad.
Number one, you're absolutely right to say that usually he's pretty successful at being able to change the message. And he started when this began bubbling up in the last few weeks. He started by criticizing reporters. He's also been, I think he said today, and he's been saying other times, why are people still asking about this? And the bigger story is X. It's been everything from trying to say that it's Democrats doing it, Hillary Clinton doing it, to reporters doing it in a way, or bringing it up when they should be focused on something else, to calling reporting about it false, to, of course, the overall accusation of a witch hunt, which is what he uses and has used often over the years. Again, to go back to what I said at the very beginning, it's his people who are upset. It's his people who are upset, and that's why I think that's my analysis is that's why it's not working. And that's why the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the others are saying you need to produce more, because it's his base that is outraged by the fact that they haven't seen more. And to underscore something that Susan said before, but I think bears repeating, when you and your advisors, before being in power, engage in conspiracy theories and sell those conspiracy theories to your base, and then arrive in power and say, never mind, nothing to see here, that's a tough sell. And that doesn't mean there aren't things that the MAGA base has been willing to accept before that have changed. Once he's gotten into power, they absolutely have. This one hasn't worked. And it's become such a big political problem for the president that he's trying his hardest in using every tool in his toolbox to change the conversation. And so is the Speaker of the House, and it's just not working.